know that there are three stages in law. My friend Mr. Seshadri was explaining the first stage, law making. There is the other stage of maintenance of law. A sort of hastiness, a sort of hectic activity which does not speak well either of the intelligence of this country or of the dignity of law. Taking the first making of law, he has stated that I am a parliamentarian. Fortunately or unfortunately I am so. But I may just tell you how we make law. Because remember, whatever may be the defect in our law making, the society is expected to maintain that law. And you, sir, are expected to help us in the maintenance of law, however defective it might be. When I say defective law, I do not mean defects that can be cut down by law courts, but defects in thinking, defects in analysis, defects in perception, and defects even in one's sentiments and prejudices. How do we make law? There are 500 strong in the Lok Sabha, 300 in the upper house. Whenever a proposal is brought forward, if it is a government proposal, even before the proposal is introduced before the House, the party in power and the parliamentarians connected with that party meet together, they discuss it amongst themselves. There are dissenting voices, there may be protests, weak or loud as the season may be, and after what is called a consensus or a judgment, then the entire team enters the House determined to carry out that proposal into law. And whatever may be the opposition presented in the Parliament, and you know the structure, the stature and the sentiment of the opposition today in the Parliament, we are at least half a dozen parties there, not only divided amongst ourselves, but determined to annihilate each other. And therefore, when such a weak and varied opposition, even if it were to present a stout opposition to the proposals before the House, number carries the day and the proposal becomes a law. And then once it is made law, intellectuals, professorial intellectuals and scholarly people come forward to ask society to maintain law. But I think that the maintenance of law, being the second stage in law, unless the first stage is perfect, unless the first stage is perfect to this extent that the people will have a sort of reciprocal interest in it, you cannot carry out the second stage. Maintenance of law is going to become more and more difficult and more dangerous as the first stage in law making becomes more and more defective. Now I would ask you to come along with me to the Parliament. A proposal is mooted, the mover brings forward a new measure, and he is cautious and says that nobody else except himself has thought about it, and everybody should feel thankful to him for bringing forward that measure. And then the opposition stands up to say that this is a measure worthy of Draken and other tyrants and not of this democratic house. And the speaker is very watchful. Wherever he finds members of the government side being embarrassed, up comes his authoritative voice, he says 2 more minutes only. And then the opposite member, when that voice, stentorian voice of the speaker announces that there are only 2 more minutes, he forgets the proposal and he is reminded of his constituency, and therefore whether there is relevancy or not, he talks for the other 2 minutes about his constituency, and then he sits down comfortably in the thought that the next time he meets members of his constituency, he may point out those 2 sentences which he has made in constituency and say, well, re-elect me because I have spoken about you. This is how laws are being proposed and carried out there.